Going on, guys? Captain Brant here. So today I want to talk to you about redfish. Now, before I was an inshore guide, I did a lot of tournament red fishing. So I spent a ton of hours on the water pre-fishing for redfish and trying out different lures to see which ones work the best in certain situations. Now, since I got to do that, I came up with my top 7 redfish lures that I never leave home without, and these are going to be the lures best suited for you, whether you're tournament fishing or just going out having fun for recreational use. Now, the first lure that I never leave home without is a Berkley Colt jerk shad.
So this is the Berkley Colt jerk shad. As you can see, I have one out of the package rigged on a 1/4 ounce Mission Fishing jig head, and this is my normal setup. But I will rig them weightless or weedless sometimes, and if you're going to do that, you're going to need to use a crooked shank bass hook. So it just depends on the situation. Now, you can fish these lures anywhere. You can fish mud bottom, grass flats, structure, deep water. It does not matter. It's something that you always need to have in your redfish arsenal. Now, there are several other companies that make these jerk shad or soft plastics. And another one that comes highly recommended is Slayer Inc. But I've always used Berkley just because I have the most confidence in these lures.
So lure number 2 in the arsenal is a spoon. It's something I've caught a bunch of fish on in the past, and it's something I definitely suggest you keeping on board when you set out to target redfish.
Here I have a gold spoon. This one's actually made by a company called Aqua Dream. Now, there are a bunch of companies out there that make spoons. Aqua Dream is my favorite. Johnson spoons are another company out there that makes a great spoon. You can't go wrong with either one. I usually use a 1/4 ounce, and this is something that I have a lot of confidence in, and I will always keep on board, and I will throw it in any situation.
So the next lure is another Berkley made bait. It's the Gulp Shrimp. It's something that I always keep on board, and it comes in handy in a number of different situations.
Now, this is the Berkley Gulp Shrimp. Earlier we talked about the jerk shad, so now we're going to talk about the shrimp. And I use this bait just about as much as I use the jerk shad. My favorite color is the lime tiger. I didn't have any with me, so I just showed you guys this one. But if you can ever get the lime tiger, that's my go-to bait. And I love to use it when I'm sight fishing redfish, where I can pitch a bait out in front of them and just kind of let it sit there on the bottom, and they'll usually just swim right over it and pick it up. Anytime I'm in like crystal clear water, this works perfect. I'll also use it for pitching structure like docks, bridges, or deep water rocks. It's definitely something you want to keep in your arsenal when targeting redfish.
So the next setup that I use is a Poppin Cork rig. I only use these in strategic situations, but it's a phenomenal setup that's definitely going to come in handy, and it catches a lot of fish. So here's my Poppin Cork rig. As you can see, I have it rigged with about a 2-foot leader with a 1/4 ounce jig head, and then just a Gulp Shrimp on the end of it. You can get these Poppin Corks. This one's a Cajun Thunder. You can get them at any of your sporting goods stores for about $3.99 a piece, but they're well worth having in your tackle box, because anytime you're fishing a muddy water canal, the back country, any place that has a bunch of reeds on the bank, the redfish may be backed up in the reeds, you can pitch these Poppin Corks up into, and man, it's usually game on. So they're one of my favorite baits to have in my tackle box. So lure number 5 in the arsenal is a topwater plug. This is something I use all the time during practice and pre-fishing when I'm trying to locate the schools, because it is a phenomenal search bait.
Now, this topwater plug here is made by Mera Lure. I believe it's the Mera Mullet. Any topwater plug you get is going to retail between $6 and $7. I mean, they're pretty pricey, but they're worth having. I also like the Rapala Skitter Walk. That's one of my favorites. I keep a bunch of those in my tackle box, and I always use them as a search bait to pre-fish during redfish tournaments. But hey, it's also a lot of fun to catch fish on topwater plugs, so definitely keep some of these in your arsenal.
So next up is a suspending jerk bait made by Mera Lure called a Mera Dine. Now, I only use this during strategic situations, but it's something that really comes in handy. Now here's another lure made by Mera Lure. This is the Mera Dine, and it retails anywhere from like $4.99 to $6.99 depending on where you get it from, but I always keep this lure with me. It's one of my go-to lures in the grass flats, because if you've ever fished grass flats before, you'll see all these little bait fish flashing in the grass, and this Mera Dine lure mimics them perfectly, and it suspends directly over the grass, so it's the perfect lure to throw while you're fishing the grass flats, and I always keep them with me. All right guys, lure number 7 is a spinner bait. Now I don't use this bait often, but it comes in handy during certain situations, and I'm always glad to have it on board.
Okay, here's the spinner bait, and this one is actually made by Strike King, and it's called the Redfish Magic, and this is my go-to spinner bait. It's my favorite one. There are other companies that make spinner baits, but I've actually have the most confidence in this one, and I found it to be the most productive. So I definitely keep a few of these in my tackle box in case I ever run into some muddy water, if I'm fishing the upper bays and you know, the situation calls for it. I'll break one of these out, and they seem to work extremely well.
Well guys, hope you learned something. One thing I want to stress to you before I go is to have confidence in whatever you're throwing. Whether you're bass fishing, red fishing, it does not matter. Have confidence in the lure that you're throwing. I'm a big believer in a small lure selection, so I only bring on board what I have confidence in, and that seems to work the best for me, and it's going to work the best for you too. So, but other than that guys, thank y'all for watching. If you enjoyed the tutorial, shoot me a thumbs up. Let me know that you liked it, and I'll keep making some more. Other than that, I got some good footage coming for you next week, so stay tuned.